on the video that says what I just did. All right. So we added a new book controller. We right-clicked on controller and added a new book controller, right? A couple of things that I want to do. Right at, I believe I want to do it right here. I'm trying to remember. Last time I did this was a few months ago. I am going to say, so if session, and do you guys remember what I named my session? So this would be under register, or actually not under register, under login. So real quickly, I'm going to look at login, and my session is called reviewer key. Yeah, the login controller should have a session. You wrote to a session variable. We need to check for that variable.
So we need to check the variable first.
Well, it has, not two sets of quotes, but it has to be the same. Because I'm going to say if it equals null, that means if it doesn't exist, if that variable doesn't exist, and it is case sensitive, so if you misspell it or you change the case, it won't work. It'll assume that it's null. But if it is null, I am going to redirect you to the login page. And I believe I want to do, I think it's, I might have to look at this. Do I want to return view? I actually don't want you to, I don't want to return a view. I think I just want to redirect. Redirect action result. Is that right? Redirect to action. And I think I want return. Redirect to action. I'm trying to remember how I did that. Well, so yeah, I think that's where I want to go, but I'm not sure that that's where it will go. I mean, that's kind of what we want, but I don't know that that will work. I mean, it'll be happy there, but I don't know that it will. Let me look just to be sure on the GitHub from last time. So I'm just, you don't have to do this. I just want to make sure that I'm on the right track because my brain is already melting. So I have a new book controller there too. Huh? Now that's a different one. Let's do.
So you're looking for how to redirect, right?
I'm just looking for, so like if session user key equals null, return redirect. Yeah, it just has. Oh, I just redirected it to result, which is maybe not the best thing. And then the result was the message is just that you have to log in to add a review. We can do that. I know that will work, but it might be fun to redirect them directly to the. And I'll give it at the message. So let's up here do message. Actually, I don't have to do it up there because it's only for this one thing right now. Message. And do you know why that isn't showing up? I do. So I haven't added the models. So this is book review, spring 18 models. Okay. So what that does, when they go to this review, they open this page. It checks to see if this session exists. This session only exists if they've logged in. So if they've logged in, there's a session on the server that of this. And basically what happens if that session doesn't exist, then it's going to we're just going to redirect them to results. But I'm sure there's a way to redirect them to the login itself. I will look at that in a bit, but right now I'm just going to send it to the results. And then, so that's basically, and if this is false, then it'll just return the view with the form. Does that make sense? This is a way you can tell if they're logged in. And the session variable exists as long as the session is enforced. So basically, as long as they're on the site, the session variable is there. If they venture off-site and come back, they may have to relog in.
So are we just saying that if they're not logged in, that we're just going to print a message for them, and then they have to click the login page?
Right, and it would be better to redirect directly to the login. I just don't want to spend a few moments that it would take me to figure out how to path that.
Okay. That's true.
But I'm sure you can path it and get there. You did it, right? Didn't you do a path to the login or something?
Yeah, I searched it online, and I think we can use return direct action.
Right.
Here use controller name.
So if we did, so let's try this without the message, because we don't have a way to pass the message. So instead of this, let's do login. So it was index login, right? The second one was the full.
Yeah, the second one is controller name. First one is action.
And they're separated by commas, both quoted, right? Let's see what happens. This should throw me directly to the login page. I'm just going to run it to see if it does that. Because it makes more sense to send it to the login page than to send them to a message page and then have them click on the login. This is a really slow machine today. Very slow. Why is mine so slow? I should look. I wonder if somebody's running virtual machines that they aren't shutting off in another profile. But that's not where it should have gone. Let me go to, that's because I ran from the controller. Let me go to, and there's no index. Yeah, that doesn't make sense to run. Yeah, we haven't created the view to look at. So never mind. My brain is not functioning well. Yeah, I don't know if it's that or just yeah. So anyway, but that's, with luck, that's what it'll do, is when they go there, they will be redirected to log in if they're not logged in. But they should be able to see it if they are logged in. All right, so this is the other part. I'm still running. Okay, so I am going to add the HTTP. So square brackets, HTTP post. And you could do get if you want, but I'll do post. And we'll do the validate. Again, once you've done these, a lot of everything is sort of just doing the kind of the same things again. I am going to do index. Actually, I'm going to do public action result index. And just like we did before, I'm going to do a bind. So it's bind include equal, and then we do the string. And what I'm going to include is over here in book. I'm just going to include the title and the ISBN, just those two fields. We'll add the date after, but I am actually going to include, I will include the date in the list here because we want to bind those. So I'm going to do a, I don't need the book key, but I do need like the book title. And these need to match what's in the actual class, right? Book title, book entry date, and we'll do book ISBN. And then I will do, this will be book, and I'll do B, and I'll add the curly braces. Okay, so we do this basically the same way we did before. We just bind the things. And again, when you do the donation, there are parts of it that we're going to do inside here that we're not going to pass through the form. Like I'm not going to pass the entry date through the form, but you need to bind them to this class anyway. Does that make sense? You want to bind all the fields, even though you're not necessarily going to pass all of them through the form. Because one of the things I'm going to do right now is I'm going to say that the entry date, b dot book entry date, equals date time now. So we're just going to assign the current date to it. But rather than do it in the form, I'm just going to do it here. And you can do this with some other things. Like one of the things with donation that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get the ID. And I'm going to put this as a comment because it has no relevance here, but it'll help you when you do the donation. You're going to want to do, for donation, you're going to want to do the donation person key is going to equal int session, whatever you named your session. So I'm going to assume you named it person key, but you might have named it something else. That's how you would get the person key to tie into the donation. Right? That has no relevance to what we're doing right here, but that's kind of key to what you guys are doing. And it should be there, because if the person key isn't in your session, then you shouldn't be on this form, because you would have been throwing back the login. All right, so the book entry date is the only thing I'm going to add right here, and then I'm going to basically, the other thing I need is we need the book review data entities. DB entities. I'll make it DB equals new book review DB entities. Oops. And I'm going to do db.books.add, and I'm going to add B for book. And then I'm going to do db.savechanges. That's how easy it is to save it if you're just doing an, or no B in there, just save changes. If you are adding a class that's already in the entities, all you have to do is add it, make sure all the fields have values, add it to the collection of books, and then save changes. That actually is the syntax, even if we were editing, and that's something I don't have in any of these assignments, is editing an existing record. In that case, you'd have to do a query to find the record that you want. And then, yeah.
Can you assist, where are we adding it to?
You'll be adding it to donations.
Oh, yeah.
Donations is a collection of donation objects. And then you'll just save changes again.
What about other entities in the book object?
So we're ignoring those, and the same thing somewhat with donation. Now, if I were doing this more sophisticated, but I'm trying to make it imitate the donation, I would add an author, so authors, and you'd have to add a list of authors. And then you'd have to kind of, there's a syntax, a lambda syntax for adding.
I mean, we didn't give any values to like this title or book.
Well, we're going to,
Oh,
from the form.
Oh, okay.
Right, so the title and the ISBN are going to come in through the form,
Okay.
but the date I'm assigning here.
Okay.
And again, there's some things that you can assign, like the date you could assign this way, the person key you could assign this way. Trying to think of what else is in donation. There's not a lot there. It's basically date, donation, also the GUID, the confirmation code, right? And I gave you the code for that in there. All those you could add here, but the other parts we'll add in the form. Mostly for you, the donation is the amount. So if this works, I'm just going to do message M equals new message. Or maybe the book has been entered. Now, something if we have time, and I think we might have time as fast as we're kind of moving, is we'll maybe come back and talk about how you would do some error trapping and all of this. Right? It's a little bit complicated because of the web MVC elements of it. But this is assuming that this works. If it fails right now, it's just going to explode, right? So later we'll do that. I'm just going to say return view, and I'm going to return result, and I'm going to pass back the message object. Your message object may not work like this either. I'm using the constructor. Remember, we added a constructor to it that allowed us to pass the message in right away. If you don't have that, you would have to do equals new message into parentheses in dot message text equals. This is using the constructor on the message. But if it doesn't work for you, then you do m dot message text equals, and then whatever message you want. The other thing we need to do, and then we're almost done. As I said, this part is pretty easy. I'm going to even though the result I put into the shared folder, so it's available everywhere, I don't have to recreate the results form. But I do need the method, public action result. Result, and it takes in a message object, and it'll return a view, capital V, and then MSG. So it's going to return the message. I'm curious, I'm pretty sure it needs that to work, but I'm not 100%. So that's it for the coding. We're just going to make the form. We'll see if we can add a book. I mean, this stuff, the way they did it with, I mean, adding, and this save changes works for edits, for deletes, and it works for inserts. Save changes does all that. It's a kind of a mysterious, miraculous little method. You just add it to the collection or remove it from the collection. So let's make the form. We've just got one form to make. So I'm going to go, we should have a new book view now. And I'm going to add an index to it. So I'm going to add view. And I'll make it named index. And again, if you don't like all these views being named index, you can name them what you want, but they have to match, right? The method name has to match the view name. So hopefully it won't take forever. Okay. So let me unzoom. All right, so I am going to do at model, right? We always do this. Book review. Spring 18 dot models. And the model that I want is book. You would want donation. I'm going to go to login real quickly. I think login is open, right? Somewhere among all my files that are open. I don't know which one it is though. So let's go to, I'm just going to steal the form from here. Yeah, I'm stealing it from login. And the reason, it's only got 2 fields, right? So all I have to do is change the names of those fields. So I think this is my current index. I mean, as I said before, you're always welcome to type these in. It's just that they're very painful to type in. So instead of username here, I'm going to say book title. And everywhere, I'll just change it to book title. Wherever you see model dot, basically book title. And then I'm going to do ISBN, model dot, is it book ISBN or just ISBN? I'm just going back to the dot to get the IntelliSense. It's book ISBN.
Oh, really?
Oh, hi.
I'm so sorry for this one. Can I use your computer on your printer?
Sure. All right, so where was I? So we also want book ISBN here. All right, and then we might want, instead of login, I'm going to change the value down here to add book. And up at the top, instead of index, you might want to do something like add book. These are just HTML, right? So I think that's good for the form. I think we're set. You guys need a minute? I think we're essentially done. But we'll look at it. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to run this. Are you guys ready? Now, when I run this, what should happen? It should throw me to the login page. So hopefully it won't throw an error and it'll just send me to the login. And it did. It sent me to the login. Actually, yeah, it did. It sent me to the login. Why does it say book under that? Oh, this is the login, right? This is the one I want. It's weird that this says book. I must have left it that way. So I need to log in. I have no idea. Does anybody remember any of my users?
Did you change the model?
Let's register. We'll just register, log in, and then add a book. All right. So I don't want to use any of the existing ones. Username. We'll just call the user best reader. First name. Your name is easy. Last name, I'll just say Brown. So and the password I'm going to do is just be Brown Pass. Just pass. Let's don't do anything fancy. I on purpose didn't blank this out, but you could do that. So I'm going to do that. So I'm there. So let's go log in. It was best reader. And then, and I haven't made a link to this, so I'm going to have to do it in the path. Password was Brown Pass. All right, so we log in, and that's fine. Now, I forgot to put in add this to that. So if you go up to the URL and just do another thing and do, so it was new book, right? That was the folder. So if I do new book, it didn't like that. And the reason it didn't like that is because it's case sensitive. Maybe not. What is my folder name? I hate to kill this. I need to see. It is new book. It should have gone there. Let's add new book. Before I do this, I'm not going to re-register, but I will re-log in. So under shared layout, I'm going to do add book. Index new book. That should work. So let's try it. So I'm going to go to login. I'm going to do best reader and Brown Pass, login, add book. Anybody have a book title you want to enter?
Loving Frank.
What? Loving Frank?
Frank, yeah.
Okay. Anybody? Well, we just make up a number. Add book. Book has been entered. One of the ways we can tell on this one is I could go to books and notice it's added it down there. And it added the date and things like that. So as long as I'm at it, you know, I could do, so let's see. I've got piles of books at home, so what should I do? Coraline, that's a good book. If I can spell it, it's Coro. That's not right. How do you, is it a Coraline? By Neil Gaiman. I'll just do again. And then if we go back to books, it's there. So, I mean, that's how easy it is to add. Now, your donations aren't going to appear like this. If you want to look them up, you probably need to go to the data thing and see if they're there, you know. So, like, if I do book review, tables, book, and then show table data, that's probably how you'll have to do it for the. It's interesting that comes across so tiny when the, I guess I didn't make that font bigger. Now, one of the things, if you really wanted to play with this, and you probably don't want to, but if you did want to, one of the things to do would be to add the author to this, or add authors. Another thing you could do, I mean, you could make it much more complex and fun to play with. When you do the donations, a part that I don't have for you, but would be good, would be to see if you could get it so when somebody is registered, it would show their existing donations. Did I ask for that? I closed all these, so come on, why is that not? I just want to look at the assignment to see if I said that, because that might be something else I need to show you. Because I might have said to redirect it to a page where they can see their own donations. And if I said that, I need to show you a little bit more. No, I just said to thank them. But if you wanted to, you could redirect. That would again be a challenge exercise. You'd have to do a query based on their session ID, their person key, to figure out which donations belong to them. Which I could show you, but I think I want to give you time to work, because we don't have class on Thursday. Yeah,
Like no class on Thursday.
no class on Thursday because it's a all-day teacher service thing. Right, book review database entities. Yeah, so let's look at.
So that's doubles for the main and then this one.
Well, that's a change. That's just what is
Yeah.
that should be
Right.
Maximize the time. How it goes like. How it goes like.
Well, let's see.
It goes like.
What time should we- Let's look at your.
Yeah.
Private class. That actually.
It goes home about. And then goes to online.
It was here before, right? First one was just- So. Did you quote anything that you can think of that was? Yeah, but you shouldn't matter if those are things like that.
You gotta log in. Yeah, I need
So
to
first
log in
thing-
at login.com about this fast.
So-
I'm so tired of it. Yeah.
Sometimes
Started trying to remember.
Yeah, it happens.
I don't know, it's super good. This is this really doesn't have anything to do with it. You didn't run it again.
Oh, I know, actually.
No, these, like, sometimes it's a good one. This is in the auto generator.
Yeah, but that's what you're actually probably
I'm not selecting my,
You have to- so you
my,
have
my case and those suggest.
to- Yeah.
Well, I'll try to do it, but I don't think that that'll.
Just take a couple of examples.
You know what I mean? Well, actually, if you take the like green touch. If you don't do anything.
With the,
Yeah, but that doesn't. This is not related to.
I have a cookie solution, but it's very small. So we could take. Actually, before I do that, let's do a quick file.
Feel.
Well, because I.
I think this is, so refresh this. Failing that, what I'm gonna do is delete it. But actually, that should.
So that's all I needed to put in information.
That should be.
You incentivize to do stuff that I didn't already. This, that's like this.
I don't know. It seemed to have lost content, but so when I refreshed it and built it, it seems to.
And then you say, you know, like, we can play more with it, but, how can you build on and better?
Well, so there's, I mean, you don't have to build your own database. I mean, there's more things you could do with these
Oh, with it.
within there. I mean, you could do your own database and play with it too, but there's a lot more you could do if you just add things to the book or the.
Hey, Steve, we got a question here. What do you got?
I have an estate where I have cattle and.
Get this when, so it was what I was trying to submit.
No, I mean, I'm saying it's, but I guess my controller has no info. I go to my view. Understand what exactly. No, not now, it's when I. Something like that. I did have my arrow away, my controller away.
You named yours Model 1. Is that what it is?
Yeah, but it is layout. Yeah, what did you do? I did nothing but add.
Yeah. Here, you put this section here. Yeah. At the beginning of the page. So, first, you don't here. Then it would only do it as a pop out.
Yes.
After the transistor.
Can you believe that?
I don't know.
Oh,
So this page comes up
When I put it in that.
It was a thing.
This is right.
And
So our district happens to be with Dr. So we're saying that even show up the schools that they did last they have. Yeah. This one is actually. Oh, so if I enter that's it
You register first.
So if you do,
Yeah, vibrant.
it'll do this
Yay.
first, right,
And then it'll show the page.
it'll show the page,
Right.
right,
And then if.
and this is index what it does after shifts.
So
That's
which
why
is the
this
right?
is post.
Okay, oh,
So it's after a post.
oh. If I do not have this.
It won't work. It actually will do nothing. It won't, it just won't do anything when you press the button,
We have the condition.
Oh.
because it doesn't pass.
I think we
it.
don't have.
Oh,
So look at your logins. Not the class, actually the login. So person key. Yeah.
Okay. So for these, they have to be the same order. Okay. So, that person key, donation date, donation value, donation celebration mode.
Yeah, and then some of those.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I understand you get this creates a donation confirmation, right?
You're right. Yeah, we're.
This is the donation date, and then the person key, right?
Yeah.
Where do you capture the donation amount?
You need to do that.
Oh, so I know.
How does the formula get back to this?
We have the same thing. Right, with the same folder.
Where would I check to make sure that doesn't happen?
What is it, so in your form, did you create an index form with that?
Well, it's also.
So here it's just.
So it's not doing anything.
Yeah. This is where, so there's a middle where.
That means, so, let's look at, no references.
Wow. The person is kind of sure, right?
Right, so let's look at your login. Your login. So, yeah, so it has to have the same thing. Video person. Video. So you are doing that.
Oh, I got it, because I'm doing d.person key. Okay, I get it. Okay.
Right, I mean, you can store the person key as a.
But it's looking for two, it's looking at two different places. Okay.
Well, it's saying that the person key, session doesn't exist. So it should work.
All right, here you go. Well,
And, so it should be good. And that would need to be right.
Hi, Steve.
Yeah.
Can you show me how to put the solution row type to get to inside? No, mouse.
It
I
should give
mean,
you.
you could, all you had to do is pick up this log.
I don't want to put it in person.
Controller, you can change
When you put it in
it.
line,
Yeah, there should be.
You know, what'd be cool was if you could
Oh, yeah.
find.
Haha. Yeah, I know it.
There's these little tags here. So when you're moving it around, you see that, like there.
Yeah. Oh,
Click like that.
oh, got it. Thank you. So you can do anything for your button, just add, change the value, alright? The button.
What button?
The view button,
Yeah, that's all you wanted.
the view button change the air. And because we copy from login.
Yeah, you can change the value. The value is the text.
Yes.
So it's what
We
shows up as
change
text.
the air anyway, right?
Anyway, I need to kill the video and I want to submit this up to GitHub real quick. Then I'll come around. What? I honestly don't know. That's actually something I should. I suspect yes, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't think Eleni has to participate in all these faculty things, so she may be here to let people in. But I'm not 100% sure of it. I will try to find out, although you might just ask Eleni to, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. What? Here we go.